Hi, we are live. Welcome to this week's Q&A. And so I don't have any questions this week, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about toxins in the thyroid. I've been doing a lot of work with genetics lately too, creating these really cool charts on epigenetics. And now, once again, whenever we have something going on with our genetics, remember genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So you could have genes towards different types of cancers, heart disease, thyroid, autoimmune, whatever. But really, it's your lifestyle and what's going on is what triggers whether or not you do develop the heart disease, the thyroid disease, the autoimmune cancer, whatever. And one of the key things in the lifestyle is not only your food and your exercise, but also your environment. And so we have to really pay close attention to that. Now, for me, I'm always talking about the thyroid. My career, everything got kickstarted after my diagnosis with autoimmune thyroid. But when I look at my genetics, I didn't have anything with the thyroid. I have a lot of genes with autoimmune illnesses. And so really it's what I was doing that was determining whether or not I had an issue with autoimmune illnesses or not. And my lifestyle, the changes I've made in my lifestyle are really what I credit for cleaning things up and getting rid of antibodies and no longer having an autoimmune condition. Now, doctors tell you there's no cure. And that's true. If I went back to that lifestyle, went back to those chemicals, those exposures, I would have high antibodies again. What really brought my antibodies down the most was a cleanse. And so people, they don't want to do a cleanse. They don't want to hear about cleanses because they're taught, and in the medical community, they talk about, we have a liver. The liver is supposed to clean everything up. And when it does its job, you don't need to do anything. The liver does it for you. But the liver wasn't created when humans were exposed to all of these different chemicals and things like that. And so we have to look at things like our air pollution, heavy metals, certain chemicals, fluoride in our water. So all of those things can prevent the thyroid from producing the hormones that it needs. And our thyroid, even if you don't have a thyroid condition, but maybe you're sluggish, maybe you're tired, maybe you have a slow metabolism, or you think you have a slow metabolism, or you have, I call it heavy legs, or stubborn weight, or constipation. All of those can be related to the thyroid. Maybe you're losing your hair, maybe you're losing your eyebrows. You can see I lost mine, and it's just really hard to get them to grow back. I'm having trouble with my camera here. But all that is related to the thyroid. But what can cause these problems can be your environmental exposures. So it could be the fluoride in your water. It could be, like for me, like I was talking about last week, it had a lot to do with plastics. I was, putting plastics in the microwave, putting plastics in the dishwasher, drinking out of water bottles that were way out in the car, things like that. They just were exposed to heat. And then I was consuming these microplastics. Well, if you're consuming regular drinking water, you live in the city. I have a well here at my house. And so I don't have fluoride in my water. But at the time I was diagnosed, I was drinking a heck of a lot of water in my plastic water bottles that I was running through the dishwasher. And I was drinking a lot of city water. And I was getting fluoride treatments at the dentist. I was using fluoride toothpaste. I was also baking lots of breads and using flours that were refined. I wasn't grinding my own flour. I was doing a lot of baking. And when we look at the flour, all of our flour has added supplements to it, something that our government has been doing for many, many years, because they know when they refine the flours, they strip all the nutrients, so they add some of those back. Well, adding those back can be harmful to us. And one of the things that is in a lot of baked breads, I was eating breads at the time too from the store. Sometimes they have bromine or bromide. And so I've combined the fluoride, the bromide, those compete with iodine for the thyroid. So if you're consuming a lot of those, you're not going to be able to get the iodine that your body needs to create thyroid hormones. Add that with short supply of selenium. So one of our greatest sources of selenium is Brazil nuts. I hated Brazil nuts. I was definitely not eating Brazil nuts. And I wasn't eating sunflower seeds. They also have selenium. So I had no source of selenium at the time. And I was doing these things to my body, right? well. So that was what was keeping me from creating thyroid hormones. However, I was consuming all those things, so they were storing in my liver. Remember, when your liver doesn't know what to do with toxins, it wraps it in mucus and stuffs it in the liver. And so I had all of this buildup, all these microplastics and other chemicals that I was exposed to being stored in my liver. Combine that with other things. I lived in a home at the time I was diagnosed. I lived in a house that was very, very high in mold. I remember going in once a month. There would be like black mold behind the curtain. I would take the curtain down and I would spray with bleach, cover the wall with bleach, cover the windows, clean it all off. At the time, I didn't know how dangerous it was, that I was just wiping all that and breathing it all in. But I was cleaning all that up, the bleach smell, all the chemicals from the cleaners, as well as the mold. Well, all that gets stored in the tissues and all that needs to be removed. So that is another reason why I do regular cleansing, because it's not all going to come out all at one time. You don't want it to, because if you cleanse really quickly, then you could be affecting your brain as well as getting sick. You've heard of people who, when they go through a cleanse, they feel like they have the flu. It's like awful. So one of the things that we do during our cleanse is very, very gentle and very, very effective. I can tell you, very, very effective. I've seen from my own test results, several of our clients have seen wonderful results as well in a very gentle cleanse. We teach you how to go step by step over the 14 weeks so that as you don't even really know that you're cleansing, you just know that you're feeling amazing as we go along. And many people see gallstones in their poop when they go to the bathroom. We don't do a gallbladder flush where you're drinking the Epsom salts and a cup of olive oil. We're doing a gentle cleanse. We're adding in different things to help you with foods, using foods and juices. And you can add supplements to go deeper, that kind of thing as well. So it's a very gentle 2-week cleanse to remove these things. So where else may you be exposed to different toxins? Once again, there's glyphosate in our air, unfortunately. The chemicals in our drinking water. I use a distiller here, and people say, oh, you can't use a distiller. It strips the metals or strips the minerals from your body. And they've proven that that is not true. There's several studies. Just Google NIH distilled water, and you'll see that that's not true. It doesn't pull the minerals from your bones, but it does provide really great, clean water that is going to be uncontaminated, which is what we need because our other waters are contaminated. Now, something with a distiller or reverse osmosis water filter, or your refrigerator water filter, those get dirty. That's why we have to change them. Molds can grow in those filters. So you need to be very careful cleaning those regularly. Don't just let it sit there, especially if you're using something that heats up like my water distiller heats up and it stays moist 24/7. So it's a warm temperature, it's always moist. So I have to be very careful because the water is distilled, which is wonderful, but then it drips through that filter. And so it could pick up mold and put mold into the water. So you want to be very careful about things like that. Something else that we need to look at are the chemicals in our foods. So you can go to the EWG website, and it has the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. So you want to make sure anything on the dirty dozen, you always buy organic. Do not buy conventionally grown. If it's on the clean 15 and you can't find it in organic, then that's going to be an okay choice for you. Now, like I said, I've been doing a lot of genetic studies, and there are some people with genetic tendencies, they cannot handle any pesticides. And so really you have to go organic if those are your genetics. And so that's something else that we'll be doing later on, going into the winter. And so if that's something you're interested in, all you need is your 23andMe or Ancestry or any of the self-decode, any of those. And Jennifer Swank and I, my Gen twin, we can definitely go through those with you. You didn't know you had that much information in there, did you? And it's more than just cleft chin or dimples and red hair. We can really tell you a lot about your own cardiovascular risks, autoimmune risks, but also your tendency to handle things like chemicals, whether or not you need to go dairy-free, wheat-free, caffeine. One of mine is I have a lot of anxiety markers, and all of them say high anxiety with caffeine. So even if I had the gene that says it's okay for me to have caffeine, if I have caffeine, I'm going to have higher anxiety. And that is so true. That is definitely true for me. So chemicals can also be a trigger for autoimmune disease, not just the thyroid, because they create inflammation. Remember, the liver can't figure out what it is. It's going to stuff it in your, stuff it in the fat, wrap it in mucus, stuff it in the fat, and that creates inflammation in the body, which raises cortisol, which raises blood sugar, which raises inflammation, which increases your risk of autoimmune disease. And so that's something else. We just really need to be making sure that we're watching things like that. Anyway, let me see if I have any questions for the week. I feel like I'm beating up the toxin thing to death, but really it is. It's just so important. Number one, to watch the things that the chemicals in your environment. If you've been exposed to a lot of chemicals, then you need to make sure that you are focusing on cleansing, whether you do our program or not. Make sure that you're finding a way to get all those chemicals out of your liver, giving your body a rest so the liver has the time to do the cleansing. If you have any questions about that, let me know. I'll put a link for you to check out more information about our 14-day cleanse. It starts on the 23rd, so it's almost here. And I would love for you to join us. I'd love for you to be one of our success stories. So let me look really quick. I'm not seeing any questions this week on anything else. But if you have any questions about the cleanse, whether or not it's safe for you, the only people that I would not recommend are those that are pregnant and breastfeeding. But everyone else, it is gentle, and you choose how deep you want to go. If you just want to cleanse with food, if you want to go deeper with some juice cleansing, if you want to go deeper with supplements, and if you want to go even deeper with tools, we show you all the different levels you can do, because it is something that not only do we do in the spring and in the fall, we do it regularly, every spring and every fall, because we know how important it is. We know how exposed we are. There are some apps that you can check out, like the Think Dirty app. That's a great one to scan your products, because you have to really think about, my laundry detergent, my dishwashing detergent, how well is that getting cleaned off? And am I smelling that detergent? Do I breathe in those chemicals when I'm doing the laundry? Am I breathing in those chemicals when I'm pulling, use a dryer sheet and I'm drying off in the shower and my towel smells really strong, like floral? I'm breathing in those chemicals. Well, what is that chemical doing to my brain? I'm running the dishwasher and I smell the detergent. What is that chemical doing to my brain? What about the rest of my body? What is that doing to me? Are those chemicals being rinsed really well off of my dishes, or am I consuming those chemicals when I'm eating my food? What about the chemicals? I'm washing my hair and maybe there are chemicals in my shampoo or my conditioner, and then it's, not only running down my body, I'm standing in it in the shower. What's that doing to my body? What about my soap? What about my toothpaste? What about my mouthwash? What about my lotion? And so there's so many different things that sometimes it can be really overwhelming. Just take it step by step, one thing at a time, and start changing things. As you run out of something, before you go buy it again, read the ingredients. Is there a better option? Is this the cleanest I can get? Or is there something cleaner that I can do to take care of my body? That's really, you are in charge of your body. You are responsible for your body. Only you can really care for it, right? Every single thing we put in our mouth, put on our skin, is either helping our body or hurting our body. And so think about that too. Everything you eat, you sit down to a pile of French fries. Is that pile of French fries helping your body or hurting your body? You get to make the choice. Anyway, I hope you decide that a cleanse is right for you, because I think it's right for everyone, unless you're pregnant or nursing. And I hope that you join us starting October 23rd. Sign up now so you can get the supplies and everything that you need and are well prepared for Monday. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.